today we are introducing Dr. Russ Bergman, the Program Director and Vice Chair of the Department of Dentistry at Newark Beth Israel Medical Center. How are you doing today, Dr. Bergman?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing well. Thanks for sitting with us.
Thank you so much. We know you are an extremely busy man. I mean, I think you just got home from work now, so your time is definitely appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So if we can go ahead and get started, if you can, please give us an overview of your journey within dentistry. Now, we know you've done a lot of different things, so if you can just break it down for us so that we kind of know who we have the honor of speaking with today.
Well, let me just start. I'm born and bred in New Jersey, and let me just start even at the beginning. I was born at Newark Beth Israel Medical Center.
Oh, wow. Full circle.
Full circle.
And in fact, on the floor that is currently dentistry.
Wow.
So it's full circle. So I went to Muhlenberg College, which is in Allentown, PA, followed by dental school at the University of Pennsylvania. I did a residency at Newark Beth Israel Medical Center, and I loved it. It changed my perspective on dentistry, and I am so happy that I did it. It changed my life. And after the residency, I went into practice and was in practice for over 20 years. When I mean in practice, wet-fingered at the chair, private practice. And I also loved the hospital so much that I went back to teach at the hospital, become involved in the program, and also to treat patients there. They had a different type of model with practicing there, and I did that. And I loved it so much, I said, you know what? I think I want to have my own program. So after, we'll say, a few years, I did become a program director at a program in Allentown and Bethlehem, PA, which is Muhlenberg. It was at Muhlenberg Hospital Center, which is part of Lehigh Valley Health Network. Full circle, back to Muhlenberg, back to where I went to school, never moved. And I did that for 13 years, never left Newark Beth. And I got a phone call one day inviting me to come back. Would I be interested in being program director? I've been program director in the hospital where I was born, in the hospital where I did my program, and now I am the vice chair and GPR Program director. So that's my story.
That's awesome.
Man, that's an amazing story.
I want to ask you a quick question, though. So you said that the program changed your life while you were going through it.
Yes.
So can you kind of go a little bit deeper with that?
Yeah, I just want to hear.
So I can give it. It's my personal story, and although it becomes even a bigger story. So I did not love dental school. You know, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't love how I was treated. I just didn't love it. And so I got into a residency, Newark Beth, and I'm treated like a colleague. I learned so much. I would not be the dentist that I am today without that program. And that's specific to that program, but you can fill in any GPR program there. And it changed my life so much that I said, I want to do that. And that's what I do. In some ways, you know, I change people's lives. I know that's a big statement, but it really is. And there's nothing more gratifying than taking a resident and taking them from one level to a higher level. It really is the greatest. And it's now why I do what I do. And it doesn't matter what level you are. You could be super terrific. And what's better than making you super terrific? But what's more touching is the person who is, you know what, needs that, is just someone who's ready to blossom and bloom. Boy, that's great.
Right.
That is from a program director's point of view, mine, and I'm sure all of the others, that's what makes it special.
I'm glad you kind of touched on that. And that's kind of where I'm going to, I guess, kind of steer this conversation is just, you know, what is the ideal or a good candidate? What does it look like? What are the kind of the attributes of the traits that you're looking for in this type of person? And, you know, or some things that I guess we could be doing now to kind of stand out as a candidate.
So it's important when you apply to any postgraduate program to make your application look good. So the first thing you have to actually do is get the interview. You can have interview tips, but you don't get an interview, well, the tips are no good. So how do you make your application stand out? First, realize that you are a terrific candidate. I am sure that you were great in high school, great in college. You're in a deep pool. So my biggest recommendation to you would be to find an advocate, okay, to make your application stand out. Okay, find an advocate, a clinical professor or instructor who knows who you are. Let them call, talk to, give a recommendation. Yeah, they'll write it on your pass application. That's terrific. But you want them to go the extra mile. You want them to call the program director for you and say, I have a special candidate. Now, in many cases, your application may speak for you. You may be number one in your class. You may be, president of your class. You may be everything perfect where it like comes off the piece of paper. But, let's be honest, yes, I see them, but quite honestly, everyone looks the same. And many times, you come from a school that has no grades, no rank, nothing. So you need yourself to stand out in that where, if the audience is coming from that type of school, you have to make yourself stand out. And that's the best way to do it. You can be your own advocate. That's great. But find someone else, because chances are someone within that program knows that person. That's where they go.
Okay. And so on the topic of standing out, we've also been advised to, granted, it might be a little bit difficult now because of the COVID situation, but we've been advised to actually visit these programs and kind of face-to-face relationship with whoever it may be within the program that we can talk to. Do you agree with this method? Do you think this is a good idea as well, or?
So I'm going to ask you to repeat the question. Only question in the middle of that, the phone went off. Hey, we're live. What can I say?
Yeah. Busy man.
Yeah.
But no.
It was one of my attendings on the line. I just cut him off.
Oh, wow. Well,
we appreciate that.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for the priority.
You're going to have to repeat the question.
Of course. So we've been advised to actually visit.
Visit the program.
Yeah.
Visit the program. So 100%. So I know it's difficult. And you could even do a virtual hookup if you want to talk to the residents. So you are about to make the biggest decision of your life, maybe more important than your decision on where to go to college or dental school, because it's something that will enhance the rest of your professional life. And you need to choose the best fit for you. Now, what is a good fit for one person is a bad fit for another. And the only way you're going to find that out is by seeing a regular day. So, yes, visit. Can't visit everywhere. Do a little work behind the scenes to kind of narrow it down where you should go. And the tip to that would be get a list of things that you want to have, must-haves, things that you can't in a program. Now, if you don't know what programs offer and you're just at what I'll say a mile high, like do they offer implants, do they not? How many residents do they have? What's the call? That's looking at a program from 3 miles up, okay? You want to dial down and go and know what's life about when they're on call? What's their education like around implants? The fact that someone may do 5 implants per year per resident and another one is doing 15 doesn't mean that the 5 is worse or better than anything. Either 15 or the 15 is better. It's the education around each thing. So when you decide, yes, visit, know what to look for, okay? Narrow it down and visit and see what it's like for real. Interview day is a fake day, okay? Everyone's smiling. Everyone looks good. A regular day, don't know what's going to happen. You'll see it for real. You'll make a better decision then because it's an important decision.
Okay.
Do it for you, but it shows interest as well. But do it for you.
Right. So you know, you kind of explained how each GPR program can be different. You know, you can do 5 implants in one and 15 in another. I guess, how could you, as I guess a resident, how could you go about kind of standardizing that experience so you can get the most, make sure you're getting the most out of that GPR AGD? Like, what are some things that I should make sure I'm doing, you know, Monday through Friday or on the weekends, like different things to kind of enhance that experience as much as possible?
You need to, the words of "we didn't do that in dental school," okay, just throw that one out. You're on a journey, you're on a path,
Right.
okay, and the flowers on either side of the path are really nice. Learn to go outside your zone, stretch your boundaries, understand that if you don't do that, you're going to end up the same way you came in, okay? Use the attending staff. Use the staff that's there. There are residents that kind of are either nervous that they're afraid they don't know something. So they kind of don't ask questions. They keep to themselves, and the attending staff's got to bring that out of them. That's their role. But as a resident, you have to stretch yourself and try things that you haven't tried and realize you will never have that opportunity again. In a program, you have a safety net. You have the attendants there. Okay, if you're in private practice and you're just out there, well, it's not the place to kind of, work without a net.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it from day to day. And do the little work. Sometimes when you get out of school, you think the learning stops. I don't have to study for a test. Right. But if you're about to do a periosurgery, okay? You're about to do a crown lengthening, all right? Pick something. Don't walk into the crown lengthening saying, I'm going to learn then. Do the work the day before, so you're basically going to confirm or work on what you already know. The attending will be basically, surprised maybe, but expected that, this person knows what they're doing. Right. And that's how you get the most out.
Nice.
Okay.
That's
okay.
awesome.
And so I want to go back a little bit. And you had mentioned that interview day is completely different than an actual day. With regards to interviews, at least in dental school, they always tell us that, if we get the interview, we're pretty much 65, 66% there. You're almost already in dental school. So obviously with the residency situation, it's not the case. And so I wanted to ask you, do you have any interview tips for applicants? Because we know how crucial that phase of this entire process is.
So it goes back to visit, because you're going to get this question almost at any interview. And it's going to be, why do you want to come here? Mm-hmm. And if your answer is, I want to increase my speed and confidence, okay? Everyone answers that way. And by the way, great. I'm going to make a joke. Great. All right. They have no confidence. Oh, they want to increase your speed. Look, I know it. Okay. And I'm going to touch on something that someone who is confident afterwards. So ask me about that so I don't forget.
Yeah.
So, I want to increase my speed and confidence. You can go to the worst program in the world, go into private practice. You'll increase your speed just by doing something over and over again. Okay? But the right way to go in an interview is to know where you're going. I'm sure that if you have friends that have applied to Facebook and Google, in my day it used to be, you say IBM. But before they go in, if you had friends that went to business school who are basically prepped on how to do an interview, and by the way, dental school should do it too, they researched the company. They knew who was going to interview them. They knew about the company. They knew their 10K. They knew everything. You should be the same way. Get the question. So why do you want to come here? The answer, well, I want to come to a program like this. I want to go to a program that there's cases in the OR just like this. I want to work and learn rotary endo with a staff like you have. I've met them all. They're terrific. I look forward to having lecture twice a day in a program like this. I think that's special. Already now, you've complimented the place, so they love you.
Right.
But it also shows that you're the type of person who has done the research. You know what you want. And that'll come across much better than, I want to increase my speed and confidence. Very different. Very different. That's what you want to do on an interview. Know who your audience is and say, I want to come here for sure.
And so can you give us an example of the confident student?
Oh, so there is a thing that, all right, should I do a GPR or not? Okay. And to me, look, I'm a GPR program director. I said it already changed my life. So, and I do change everyone's life. So, but in reality, it will enhance your professional life. And it was special for me. You make a little investment. It's like investing $2,000 in an IRA today, and by the time you're ready to retire, that's $1 million. You put a little bit of work now for, quite honestly, you may think it's less pay, but if you added whatever you're paying tuition on in school, it's really, you're paying to learn now. At a residency, you're getting paid to learn. Add that investment grows. You know, people come in and they quite honestly, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And you'll find out immediately what you don't know, and you'll fill in the blanks, and you'll become an amalgam of all the different, want of a better word, all the different attendings there. Your experience will grow exponentially. But on the confident thing. So being confident does not mean you know what you're doing. It's just that you are confident in doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that on American Idol, when they walk in and they're confident they can sing, but we know a lot of them can't sing. Right. So in the same way, you can be confident you can do dentistry. That doesn't mean you're great at it. And you know, it's difficult as a program director when you get people that, and we'll call them people that don't want to learn. They think they already know that. Okay, never know everything. But in reality, they're dangerous because they don't know, and yet they're confident they can do it. So you got to watch that. And going back to, you know, if I'm not, I want to create my speed and confidence. We will give you that confidence because we're going to train your mind. Doing things over and over again on your hands, okay, again, increases your speed. But we're going to change you're going to train your mind. You guys are all smart. You know, you did, like I said, great in college, great in dental school. You guys are smart. Everyone's smart, okay? Everyone in your class, I'm sure they're smart. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're all talented. And dentistry, if you look at it as a technical field, that's being a technician, okay? Good dentists use their heads, and then their hands can do more. So a good program is training your head, is teaching you. And when I spoke before about, you know, we want to basically we enhance your life. I want to educate you in a way that you can do root canal because you understand it and you can conceptualize it better. It's not on the number of root canals you do. It's not on the number of implants you do. It's not on the number of crown and bridge you do. It's the learning that's behind it. I may have said that before, and that's what you want to do. And I would hope that people will recognize that being confident is not necessarily the be all and end all. And one last point. Some people that are confident that they go out in the private practice, that's another common, I'll call it myth. I'm confident I can go into private practice. Well, we started on that. Well, that doesn't mean you know what you're doing. But the other part is that dental school gave you the first couple, maybe the introduction to a book. And you're going into private practice and you're cutting right to the end of the book. How do you understand? You can't really conceptualize how the book is going. GPR programs give you that middle book. And in fact, you will fly as in private practice, understand so much more. You'll grow so much more because of the GPR program or postdoc program that you did. Without that, you're missing the middle chapters. So go from school right to the end of the book. You can see right away why it just doesn't make sense, at least to me.
Okay, so Dr. Bergman, I know that you are a program director, and so I also know that every program is going to be relatively good or bad for people.
Correct. Could
you give us some type of indicator of what we should look for, you know, while we're asking questions, like what would be some red flags of a program, you know, just in case we can't come to yours and, you know, we're interviewing everywhere else?
So I can give you things to ask for
Right.
okay, that you're looking for, okay, that you could be looking for. One, you should decide on whether or not you want something called continuity of care. What that means is that you start with one patient and you continue their care to the end of their care. You start the crown, you deliver the crown. There are some programs where resident A starts the crown, but resident B cements it. Okay? So you may prefer the continuity of care model. There are some models that are not continuity of care. Okay? There are some programs with that are very have a whole lot of program directors, a whole lot of attendings, and there's some with only a few. Now, they have their advantages and disadvantages, but do you want an input of a lot, or do you want super mentors? I could be the mentor, but if you do everything the way that I do, quite honestly, that's not great. I'd rather have it where you became, again, to use the same word, amalgam of all the different attendings, and you grow from there. Lectures or didactics, okay? That is really a really icing to the cake. Are they twice a day? Are they twice a month? Because if you're going to build your knowledge, you can build it by doing. That's obviously with your hands. But if I can didactically train you and train your mind more, and not take you at the level where you were in dental school, where it was like nothing, and now you reach a certain level. Now I'm taking you, and you're in college now. The college level courses, not the junior high level courses from dental school. So you can learn a whole lot more. You also have to be aware of how many residents there are and how long they go on rotation. There's a joke, and I will not, it's an exaggeration, but you'll see the idea behind it. They have 10 residents and 2 dental chairs. Do the math.
Yeah.
They're not doing a whole lot of dentistry, and they're out somewhere else. Understand those programs and what they're there. Finally, the most obvious, talk to the residents. Yeah. There used to be, you have the opportunity to do residency fairs, and they could be virtual this year, where your school may be doing a virtual fair, I don't know, or any other school. But the idea if you have a friend who's a resident, so at a fair, for example, I'll give this as a tip, though, because your audience may not all be, I guess, D4s. They could be D1s and 2s, right? Yeah. So if you have the opportunity as a D1 or 2 to go to a residency fair, walk by the table that has someone that is going there. Your friend is going to the Steven Spielberg residency for dentistry, okay? You see the Steven Spielberg table, your friend goes there, walk by the table. Why? Go talk to your friend. Walk to the table of the program that you never heard of and talk to them. And that way you'll learn a little bit more about other programs, and you may learn about a program that you never knew existed before. And that's another thing. So, and you will learn from the residents' bottom line on what to have and what not to have. I could give you more on that, but you're looking for if the residents are happy, that's good. And by the way, there is no perfect program. No perfect program. But come from, so what's the education like for endo? What's the education like? What do you get to do? How much time do you spend with patients? You medically complex, how much medically complex it is. You're going to go into Main Street USA, and everyone is not an ASA class 1. They're people on meds. They're sick. You're seeing it in school, and you're going to treat them. So you have to know that end of what to do. You have to come across confidently to them that you know what you're doing and be able to treat them. And a hospital-based program, and stereotypically can do that better than an AEGD, but you have to learn that.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is a lot of really good information and a lot of really good tips, to take into applications. But with all your your experience in the field and everything, I kind of want to pick your mind and get some advice on some things you would tell a new dentist, to someone to ensure that they're getting the greatest success out of their career, as well as the happiness of the lifestyle, and that stuff.
It's a good question, and it's a good question. It's something that I'm glad you asked, even at the as a dental student level, because ultimately, I'll say it's to be happy. Okay. Now that's a nice broad term. Okay. Everyone wants to be happy.
Right.
That's an individual thing, but go to your strengths. Don't be, you could be driven purely by money. If money purely makes you happy, okay, then I guess that's the only thing that's going to do it. I have friends that, hey, you know what, they did very well and that makes them happy. I have other friends that, you know what, they wanted to see their kids grow up. They are at every baseball game, every dance recital, and by the way, they're happy and they did very well. And I'll say also, don't isolate yourself. There's a tendency in dentistry to kind of internalize your clinical problems. And so if when you're a student, you're with other students, everyone's, you can talk about, oh, that class was horrible, it just, but when you go out into, private practice and you basically go do work, not every day goes fine, things fail, believe it or not, for everyone. And to think that you're the only one who has that problem, that's bad. That's bad. Because you are not the only one with problem patients. You are not the only one who has that bridge fails. You are not the only one. Join a study group. Get a group of friends who are dentists. Go out for a beer. Go out for whatever and talk. And you will find out that you all have common friends. You have common problems, and you will be happier from that. Because ultimately, it's about, to me, the work and play equilibrium. And but to do that, I really think that that's it. Because dentists tend to, at least I see some of they isolate themselves. Go out there and see that your problems you're not alone.
Okay, awesome. I want to ask you another quick question. Another argument that our class is having amongst each other is that COVID will have affected these GPR programs and these AEGD programs as well, and the fact that there won't be as many patients to see, and therefore it is a waste of time. Do you think that COVID is going to have any type of, I guess, hindrance on the GPR and the AEGD programs more than they would any other type of practice? Or?
Well, I have learned from COVID not to make any predictions. I really can't. I can't plan. What is true today is wrong tomorrow. What I swear is going to happen tomorrow never happens.
Okay.
So I will say that a GPR, as I talked about at the beginning, is not necessarily 100% about doing with your hands. Right. Just because you think private practice you're going to do more, well, in some ways you may be getting into more bad habits. Because the question comes up, should I do a GPR at all, or could I just, they all have different quality, and should I just go into private practice? Well, you need that feedback that comes from more internally, and any program should give you that feedback. You need to develop it naturally, but you need to have that educational feedback to know what's right and what's wrong, and don't be handcuffed by money. Because many times out there, you're driven by, I got to finish that root canal so that I get my 30, 35, 40% of doing that. It's not a good way. And build on the good habits that you can get from a GPR program. COVID, quite honestly, I think is my prediction that I should not be giving, it's going to ruin it for everyone. And in many cases, it's going to be about education ultimately. So I think what affects me is going to affect everyone. And, it also may affect the number of patients going into a practice. And associate doc, I'm not quite sure is going to be a top of the patients going in there. Wanting a senior doc wanting to hire an associate. Why are they going to hire an associate? They don't have maybe enough patients to give themselves.
Right.
So it's difficult to predict. Right. And but to build on a great foundation is always good. That's what I'll say. You need to build that foundation. Don't put that roof on the house yet. Continue to build.
All right. Gotcha. So I guess just to start wrapping up here, we definitely want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about Newark Beth Israel Medical Center and the GPR program there. and just kind of give us a little bit more specific information about your program, I guess, and kind of, just tell a little bit about the highlights that come out of that program.
Yeah, because we actually met Dr. Litwin.
We spoke with Dr. Litwin.
He's awesome.
He sang the praises of the program,
yeah,
so we definitely
awesome.
want to hear from you as well.
So I do, as I had said before, I hope that we change people's lives, and we strive to make people a success. It's not necessarily, again, like all about numbers. There is a secret sauce, I think, to Newark Beth that, we don't have too many, we don't have all little kids. We don't have all seniors. We're not all extractions. There is a secret sauce in the patient mix of procedures that in the end, it comes out that you get an overall experience. If someone was to ask a resident like Dr. Litwin, if you ask him, so what's the best aspect of the Newark Beth program? He, like others, would say the attending staff. They are your colleagues. They are the ones that make it special. And they are, at Newark Beth, a lifetime. You become an alumnus of a special program that you are a part of forever. I am not quite sure whether 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that whatever school anyone goes as a dental student, they're gonna have that attachment to. That when they have a problem with a case, they're gonna call someone from their school. When they are building an office, they're gonna call someone from their, an instructor from the school. Every week, oh, that's an exaggeration, but all the time, I will get phone calls. They say, "Hi, Dr. Bergman, how you doing? Hey, I got this case. What should I do?" Or just to say hello. Or, what's happening there with COVID? That type of attachment at Newark Beth. You're part of the Beth family forever, and that's something that's great. And the experience must be great. Because I'll throw one more thing, and I don't want to talk forever about it. And I would say that, you can contact me separately. You can Google Newark Beth Israel GPR, and you'll find out about me. And there's a video and all that stuff. I just, a couple years ago, we said, you know what? Let's go to our alumni and see whether or not we feel that our alumni, I'll start again. We think that we have changed the lives of our residents, change their professional lives. And as I said before, they did it for me. And so I think we changed a lot of people's professional lives. What better way, if we went to our alumni, to say thank you than with a check? And I'm sure whatever dental school the people are, listening to here, I'm sure the day they graduate, they're going to get a phone call or a letter that says, would you like to donate money? And you'll either slam down the phone or rip up the letter. But in some way, maybe as you got older, you'll say thank you. But we said, I think we changed their professional lives. So 5 years ago, we reached out to our alumni. Now, we're not a dental school. We're not a college. We're a residency. And within 5 years, we have over $600,000 raised. That's crazy. Crazy. We have a 3D cone beam. How did we buy that? Well, we got it because of the alumni. We have an all-new high-tech lecture room. Well, because of alumni. We have all the bells and whistles, which are just part of the education. But I think that's indicative of the type of program that Newark Beth is, that their alumni would say, thank you. I would like to give a check. And whether a lot of them were big money, but really the touching ones were the recent grads who would give $20. You don't have to say thank you. Thank you is a thank you, and it's really touching. And I think that's indicative of Newark Beth. So it's something that, again, people should look at and look at our program. And there's a lot of good programs out there as well. And make the right choice for you. Make the one that is a right fit for you. You could, and I'm going backwards a little bit, you could want to go and do, be a pediatric dentist. So, don't pick a VA. Okay? You're not going to see little kids. You may say, I want to go to a program where I don't have to worry about money. I can do whatever I want and, I'll just do it and that'll be great. But the thing is, the first day you go into private practice, and by the way, going back to Newark, Beth, we have all that stuff. We're not all little kids. We're not all adults. We have little kids. And every day of the week, by the way, at Newark Beth is a different specialist on the floor. Monday mornings are ortho, Monday afternoon pedo, Tuesday and Wednesday mornings perio, Thursday mornings endo, Friday morning is occlusion, and the afternoons, with the exception of Monday, time to job dentistry. But what I'm saying is, I lost my train of thought in there.
Yeah, you were saying how you had all specialties.
All specialties coming in throughout the week, and how you get that experience.
Yes, and it'll come back to me. Missed it.
Long day.
It was too much.
It's been a long day.
It was too much. I'm showing my age here now. I can't remember this. And by the way, it was probably the greatest point that I was about to make.
Right.
And it went in and it went out.
We're sure of it.
It's definitely going. I'm sure it'll come right back, and you'll have to let us know. But
Okay.
You were explaining about
I'm only human.
How we don't want to block ourselves in. And being able to see, or how you guys are able to see such a diverse group of patients,
Oh, I got it. We're talking about money. That's what we're talking about, money.
There we go, yeah.
Talking about money. So you want to go to a program that, I can do anything and it cares about money. Until now you get into private practice and you've never dealt with money. And you get the greatest treatment plan in the world. And you present it and the patient goes, I just want what my insurance pays for. Mm-hmm. And you go, learning about dentistry at postgraduate program, more about just drilling and filling. There is a whole lot of other stuff. And so you got to learn about that aspect. And there's a maturity that happens. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about an emotional maturity. There's a dental maturity that happens as well. So, Newark Beth, you got to deal with all different pay insurances. From self-pay to private insurance to Medicaid, New Jersey Medicaid. It's part of, the special sauce that makes Newark Beth special.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Bergman, thank you again so much for your time. Of
course,
you guys. We'll put your name and the Beth Israel link in the description so that if anybody does want to reach out to you, I'm sure they can give you a call, or reach out to you via email, whatever it may be.
And I'll text you my email address. How's that?
Awesome. That's perfect.
And then you can put it there, and everyone can have it. Get a hold of my email, and hopefully, if someone is interested in my program or even has questions in general, I'll be more than happy to answer.
No, we definitely do. We appreciate your warmth, and you being so open to answering a lot of questions.
No problem, guys.
We've heard stories throughout our classmates reaching out to different program directors and, unfortunately not even getting responses sometimes. So the fact that you're spending this time with us at the end of your day.
It's been a little crazy though. March was it was March, April, May, crazy. Okay.
Oh man, can only
imagine. You may have been home, watching, the computer for your courses. My residents had that 6 hours a day. We had that clinically 6 hours a day. I don't know. We had 6 hours a day of clinic of lecture that we provided, not only to our residents, but we made them available to the residencies in New Jersey. Not everyone had the ability to kind of do that, and they were coming in to do work as well because we had to do emergencies, and it was crazy. And I hope I don't have to go through it again ever.
Right. Hopefully not. Hopefully that second round doesn't come back around.
Yeah.
But like we said, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bergman. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Truly, you'll be hearing from us soon.
Thanks.
We continue.
All right.
For everyone out there, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so you know whenever we post up new content. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at _FutureDDS. Send us a DM if you have any questions. We'll be sure to get back to you as soon as we can. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you guys as always.